After the patients were able to be stabilized, I was actually able to visualize some of the footage to see the blast injury that had occurred to these patients. And frankly, it's remarkable that none of them were more severely injured.
9 firefighters injured today in a massive explosion near the port of L.A. 2 of them in critical condition tonight, including one who was airlifted to the L.A. General for burn treatments. With more, we are joined by board-certified ER doctor Michael Daignault. Good to see you.
You too.
You've been in the emergency room dealing with stuff like this. Walk us through what happens when it comes to burn injuries like this.
Right, so in this case, this was compressed natural gas, and so those tanks were under the amount of pressure of 3,300 pounds of pressure. And so what you see is 4 levels of blast injury. The first one, the primary level, is that amount of pressure, that blast wave, hitting the human body. So that can rupture your eardrums, cause damage to the eyes, and then any kind of gas-filled structure, so your gallbladder, your lungs, your intestine, that can cause a perforation or rupture in those. And so most of the trauma, the immediate trauma, is going to happen to that. The secondary level of blast injury is from the fragments or the shrapnel. And the third is the blast wave just forcibly moving the human body through space and then subsequently suffering fractures of bones and things like that. And then the fourth one is burns or any other injuries not classified by the top 3.
So how do you go about treating that?
Right, so what happened in this case is they set up a mass casualty event, and they were mass casualty treating their own colleagues in this case. And so you want to immediately determine who needs help right away. And so we had 2 critical firefighters, one of which required intubation, which tells me there was possible burns of the airway, the face, or possibly the lungs, as we discussed initially with that initial blast trauma. And so you want to bring those people to the burn center as quickly as possible. And when we see them in the ER, we do a survey. The primary survey is who has an airway involvement from the burn or the blast that needs to be intubated, and then you look at the secondary survey, are there signs of other fractures or burns that need to be addressed immediately.
Obviously, very serious emergency to be dealing with at the ER. Last week when we talked to you, it was right before the Super Bowl, and we talked about this idea of Super Bowl syndrome and a lot of people coming in to the ER because of the Super Bowl and maybe drinking too much. What are you seeing in the ER this week?
Well, this week, interestingly, a lot of adults with strep throat, right? So when you have a sore throat and fever, you come to the emergency room, we'll test you for strep. What I want people to think about at home is when it's just sore throat alone, especially with fever, that's more likely to be strep. That needs to be treated with antibiotics. If you have a sore throat, runny nose, cough, body aches, that's most likely viral, in which case we would recommend just over-the-counter Tylenol, ibuprofen, symptomatic treatment.
So when do you know to go to either urgent care or the ER, or when is it just you stay home and do the best you can?
I think, you know, the initial response, because our ERs are just so busy all the time lately in the winter season, and particularly in LA, you want to try some over-the-counter Tylenol or ibuprofen, see if that helps your symptoms. If it's viral, that will work. It'll take a couple days, but if you still have a severe throat alone with high fever, you need to go to the ER. You need to be treated with antibiotics because that strep infection could turn into a peritonsillar abscess, which is more severe and might require an incision and drainage of that abscess. So that's when things get more dicey.
Okay, on that beautiful note, Dr. Michael Daignault, thank you so much. Glad you're feeling well.
Thank you.
Good to see you.